this has been an interesting year, guys. 2021. We're lucky enough to have PJ Riley with Lancaster Archery on our Zoom call today, along with Justin Czar. Sir Czar is with us as well. These are interesting times, of course, guys. I mean, technically, we would normally be at the ATA show right now. We'd all be elbow to elbow. We'd be diving into gear and talking about things. And with COVID, things are different this year. So we're going to make the best out of it. I think all of us are looking for what these new products are. There's a lot of changes, guys. We know that this year, of course, with this, all the manufacturers not having to have their feet held to the fire for having their products ready to go for ATA. It's a little bit different this year as we're beginning to see who's releasing what. I was tasked to find some products. Justin was tasked to find some products. As usual, I think somehow PJ always comes out to try to beat Justin and I think my goal was to try to find the most expensive items, since Justin's always given me a hard time for spending way too much money.
I just hope what you find is better than like that tape that you brought to us a couple of years ago.
The tape. Hey, stuff, man.
Tape you can use.
I like that tape. Really, I got it in my truck. I used it. I actually used it not too long ago, but I've got two items that are over $4,000 here. So this is going to be interesting what I have. I can't wait to see what you guys have, but I've talked enough. This is going to be kind of a fun thing that we're going to do here, guys, because things are different and manufacturers are still trying to figure this all out. So I think what we're going to see this year for us hunters is we're going to see different products coming out throughout the entire year. So that's going to be kind of cool for all of us, right? Sometimes we come to these shows and, oh my gosh, it's almost like information overload, right? Like you're just getting all these new products, and sometimes you forget about some of them. So this is going to be kind of cool because I think you're going to see a lot of manufacturers kind of just trickling these things into the marketplace as the months come down the road. So that's enough talking for me. Let's rock and roll. Who is going to be up first?
I think we got to start with PJ. I want PJ to kind of show his hand so I can see. I want to know what he's got, right? I mean, we always look for some of the coolest new products for the year. So let's
do I go for the coolest one first or hold the best one? Well, all right. Well, I'll start out here. So I am a fan of tack vanes. This is this new vane. It's a vane that Levi Morgan designed, and I just love these things. And so they've been out for maybe 2 years, I think, but they came out with new colors this year. I'll hold them up to our overhead camera. There we go. We've got the OD green because it seems like everything in the archery world is going OD green now. That's the color that everyone loves. And they've got this desert tan. And Randy Groff, who manages tack vanes, he said he was inspired for that desert tan by all those Toyota trucks that have that color that he sees on the road there. So if you can see those colors there, I'm starting out small here. You know, a different color of vane isn't wowing the world.
Very innovative, PJ.
But it's cool colors. I certainly like them. So new colors in tack vanes coming out this year. That's my first one.
I've been hearing a lot more about tack vanes. I know some of the guys on our team are shooting them as well. A lot of guys also moving to that four-fletch configuration out there, which I haven't jumped quite on that bandwagon yet. But, you know, the one thing I'll say, if you're shooting those things, you better be shooting a lighted knock, or you're never going to find your arrow.
You need a four-fletch to be hunting from a saddle, and what else? Shooting out to 45, 50 yards. Then, Justin, you'll be a complete hunter.
Oh boy, here we go. We're not, okay. I'm going to put we're stopping right here before we get Justin all fired up.
All right.
With distance shooting. But I agree. If I'm Luminac right now, I'm sitting back in my chair saying there's going to be a lot of people losing their arrows, so they better have those lighted knocks fired up, because that's the first thing that came to mind. But hey, maybe that's why I'm not shooting as many deer. Maybe all the bright vanes I'm using, the deer see me or something like that. Maybe I need to start camouflaging everything up a little bit more. I like it.
You tagged out this year, crap.
Well, I know. We didn't. We could have done better in Nebraska. Something blew us in the tree that day. Must have been your smell or something.
Probably. So who's up next? Is it me or you?
You know what? I'll go ahead and dive into this next. Everyone knows that I like my mountain bikes. I like bike riding. So this one definitely caught my my eyes immediately when I saw this, and this is a new dually mountain bike electric for being able to slip into your stands. We're talking 2 wheels on the front end. It's the Rungi dually. And
Rungu.
Rungu.
Got a U, Rungu.
Yeah, okay, Rungu.
Just
Everyone
on
knows
the front?
that watch the show. Me and sometimes pronouncing names and stuff isn't very good. It's not my strong suit by any means. But this baby's got 2 front wheels, 9 inches apart from each other. I mean, this thing is going to give you more traction, more stability on all different types of terrain. I mean, it's got a longer wheelbase, which what they're saying is going to give you just more stability overall, less likely to crash. I had my first crash on my mountain bike this year while bow hunting. I could see Justin with his smirk already, just enjoying every moment of that because he just loves seeing me get hurt.
I'm just glad you had the camera running at the time that it happened, because it was pretty funny for the rest of us.
Well, we're supposed to keep the cameras running. We did. So this bike is going to be, right around $4,400 is what we're learning, of course. But I mean, this thing here is pretty interesting looking. For those of you who want to be able to have a bike to be able to slip into those areas quietly and have more stability. I mean, it looks like these guys have, taken a problem, right, and have tried to solve it. And I mean, at a $4,300 price range, to have this extra stability and more comfort, I just think they might just be onto something here for sure. So this is going to be, this would be a situation where ATA would be great to actually be able to try this thing, right? And obviously we can't try it. That's where the ATA is definitely going to be missed as far as that goes right now. But this thing looks like it's got horsepower. It looks like it's going to be quiet. They put a heck of a rack on the back to be able to carry your gear. So this is one that looks pretty darn cool. $4,300.
Fair enough. I like it. E-bikes are definitely picking
Take
up.
that, PJ.
Well, I usually walk to my stands. I don't know about all this biking in there, and I'm not ready. That's kind of like a wheelchair, maybe. Some people need that.
Yikes.
He likes just walking out his back door and sitting in the ladder stand in his backyard.
Exactly.
E-bike anywhere. All right, I'm gonna jump in next. I got 3. I gotta pick my product. So I'm gonna start with a product that I actually got a sneak peek look at, and that's part of the reason it made on my list. So it is going to be the new Divergent suit from Scentlock. We've been using Scentlock gear for a number of years, and I actually went over to Scentlock's office about a month ago or so for some meetings, and I got a sneak peek at this garment before it was released. And I was able to actually sit and talk with Aaron, who's the president of their company. We went over some of the features of it. I was able to give kind of some input and feedback on kind of what my thoughts were. But honestly, I think it's going to be the best suit that Scentlock has had to date for like a mid to late season type of suit. So, Scentlock released their BE1 line, I think it was 2 years ago now. I think this was my second year in the BE1 line. And they kind of had really 2 main suits. They had the Voyage, which was like comparable to their full season suits. It was something that I was wearing from like mid-October through like mid-November, right? With enough layers, you could wear it, below freezing, but it wasn't really designed for that. But I could wear it, let's say, down into the 20s. Once you got below that, you were switching over to their Fortress suit. And the Fortress suit was great for like blizzard conditions, ultra cold, late season, a lot of snow on the ground, that late December, January hunting. Where this Divergent falls is kind of in between those 2 pieces. And what it is it's a jacket, and I call it a pant, but it's almost like a pant bib hybrid. And I think the coolest thing is the jacket. The jacket is a pullover jacket. And the reason they made it a pullover is because it's got a giant kangaroo pouch in the front of it to put your hands in, keep your hands warm. Again, if you guys have watched our show or listened to Todd and I over the years, we're big hand muff users. We love our hand muffs when they get cold, when it gets cold out. So this kind of replaces your hand muff. It's built right into the jacket. It's got zippered storage in it. It's like a half zip. So the front zips, about halfway down your chest to the top of that pocket. It's got zips on both sides of the jacket, so you can zip it up the sides, which makes it putting it on and off a lot easier. It's got a removable hood. It's windproof by construction, so it's a very tightly knit material, ultra quiet. And they're using Primaloft gold inside of this jacket, which is the best insulation that PrimaLoft makes. I think they said it's, if I remember the number, maybe 18% warmer than the PrimaLoft Silver that everybody's kind of accustomed to seeing in most of our gear. So it's going to be super warm. It's the pants, like I said, are kind of a pant bib hybrid. They come up a little bit higher on your waist than a normal set of pants, and they have suspenders, which is nice. So if you bend over to grab something, you know, your coat's not riding up and exposing any skin at any point in time. So it's a Divergent suit from Scentlock. I tried to steal the one they had in their office, but they wouldn't let me leave with it when I was there because I wanted to test it out during the late season. But I got to feel it. It's super quiet, looks very warm. So I'm super excited about that. I believe the retail is going to be right in that like $3.99 range. You may see it for less than that, but I think that's what it's going to be advertised as. But this is a suit that's probably going to take you from late October realistically through the end of the season. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to wear it during late season with a couple layers underneath, a heated vest. Todd and I are big heated vest wearers.
Yeah.
With that and some merino wool, you're going to be set. So that's my first item.
And I think I'll add onto this just for a minute, not to lengthen this any further, but, you know, there is no doubt something has happened over at Scentlock, I think, in the last year because, you know, PJ, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to these guys yet or not, but I mean, you know, they got a fire in their belly this year, boy. I'll tell you what, there's some other products too that they looks like they're going to be coming out with this year, which we have a full recording of that. But they're going to have, you know, foot covers now that you can put over your boots, which looks super duper nice. They've improved their heated vest. I mean, they've just done a lot of things this year to step it up. So really impressed with that.
Merino base layers.
Yeah, they had
that are super nice.
They had a bunch of, I mean, all their electronic stuff for ozone generation. I mean, they have a ton of that stuff there.
Yep. Yeah, the infused little bottle sprayer is really, really cool for ozone. So a lot of cool stuff coming out of Scentlock for this year. I mean, that Divergent jacket it's awesome. I've been wearing the Revenant suit the last couple of years, kind of as my kind of go-to late season piece when it's not blizzarding outside. And this Divergent is kind of the next evolution of that Revenant. Takes a lot of technology.
Justin, I'm sorry. We're going to have to hit the timer button.
All right, fine.
You got to do it.
We're going. PJ, you're up next.
All right. This one is an especially good one for someone like me. Let me hold this up here to the camera, overhead camera. There it is. Can you guys see that little piece of glass right there?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a clarifier. And for people like me with these big sausage fingers for specialty archery to get them into my Peep Site, I would lose these things. They'd fall out. They're so tiny, you know, you don't want to get fingerprints on them and stuff. So this year, Specialty's PXS Peep Site system, there you go. You can see it from the side there. They have this little device. This will be, this is my aperture. And so this is what I would put my clarifier into. And now I'll give you a demonstration here. How this works is there's an overhead. Well, what it is those two ears are going to capture this. I got to set it down to do it. They're going to capture that lens.
He's losing street creds right now. Street creds are slipping, PJ.
I'm moving around.
PJ, this is why you never do live demos of products. This is what I've learned.
I'm trying to work around microphones, etc. Now, my clarifier is in there, and it's not going to fall out when I turn it up. Now, I just screw this into my Peep Site. My glass is in there. If I need to change it, I take it out. Believe me, this will save, because these clarifiers, they're not cheap. They're expensive. And yet that little tiny thing, if I drop that on the ground, I'm never finding that. So this new system, the PXS Peep from Specialty Archery, allows you to grab that clarifier. So when you are putting it into your Peep Site, it is not going to fall out.
So that piece in your hand is the actual peep housing?
That is not the aperture.
It actually screws in, you leave it in?
That screws in.
Now, here's the peep housing.
It's got to be pretty big, right?
This is the peep housing.
Okay.
So, and then this screws into the back of it. It's my aperture that would screw it.
And then you leave that piece in once you screwed it
and
in.
then and then your whole peep is together.
Got it. Okay.
So
all right.
Yeah, so just those little ears on the side there to allow you to capture that clarifier, believe me, that to me is like somebody read my mind and said, I got just the product for a guy like that.
Well, you old guys complain a lot to companies about things like that. It's like,
we can't see.
So they knew.
Exactly.
PJ, you're dealing with this younger crew.
I'm getting there.
I failed too, guys. I mean, speaking of this, I just failed. I went and did my LASIK thing. I'm going to try contacts first. I'm just too much of a wuss. I'm just going to go on record saying it. I'm not ready. I'm scared. I'm out. Well, sorry. I'm waiting.
So with with the glass setup, what the guys from Specialty told me is I never saw a clear target picture. So I actually shoot, if I use a clarifier and a lens in my scope, I shoot without my glasses, and I can see the target better than with my glasses. So if you're out there and you're having difficulty,
you go hunting without your glasses.
Well, this is target shooting. When I'm hunting, I just have my glasses.
No, that's cool. I mean, honestly, I've been looking at those clarifier peeps for a couple years because my eyes aren't horrible by any means, but it's a little fuzzier than I'd like it to be when I'm shooting. I can use that as an excuse for my poor scores.
That was my excuse all the time.
Yeah. All right, Craft Man, we're tossing it back to you.
All right, back to me. Again, guys, I'm finding those products where you may need to break loose with some of your Bitcoin profits this year.
Just use your stimulus check. Come on.
All right, fine. Stimulus check, Bitcoin, whatever you need to do. This is the new Raven R500E sniper package. Guys, this is the first ever, again, I'm going to say it one more time, first ever crossbow to shoot 500 feet per second. But beyond that, this baby has an electronic cocking mechanism, guys. With the press of a button, you will now be able to cock and decock your bow with the press of a button. I mean, this baby, this thing looks like this thing is a machine. Now, this does not shoot 2 bolts at one time like another manufacturer.
Hey, now, don't. Hey.
Whoa, I didn't know that. I didn't know that this was something you were going to talk about. So it's my turn. You just saddle yourself back there in your little tree saddle. This is, guys, this thing's unbelievable looking. I mean, this is a full-fledged. It comes with the scope. I mean, it comes with the complete package, and this baby is ready to rock. Now, it comes with a price tag of $3,700. Retail, supposed to be available spring of 2021, of course, this year. But I'm telling you what, again, we're going to have to get one of these in our hands. We're going to have to do another video on this. But this has an electronic cocking mechanism. Could you imagine that? One push of a button and it automatically cocks and decocks? That's pretty amazing. Give
them the dimensions. The dimensions are the incredible thing about this Raven at full draw.
This baby, well, you've seen this thing already, BJ?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, axle to axle, this thing's 7.5 inches, 7.6. I got some specs over here in front of me, but I mean, this baby is over, I don't know what the overall length is, but I mean, putting it at 3.6 inches axle to axle when cocked, 7.6 inches axle to axle when it's uncocked. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's crazy. So again, this thing here looks pretty amazing. I have to say, if ATA was in effect this year, this would be a crowd buster for sure. Yeah. I think people would be running over to check this thing out because
I think it's certainly generating a lot of buzz online.
Yeah.
Since it was released, and sometimes buzz is good and sometimes buzz is bad, right? You got the gear freaks that are like, man, that thing's awesome. It looks cool. It's the fastest crossbow on the market. Then you got the other side where everyone's like, this is why crossbows shouldn't be allowed in archery season, right? So it's kind of got both have, as one of the most talked about products right now.
They wouldn't let us see it beforehand. All they would tell us the day before was, we're telling you, when this is released, everybody who has a Raven is going to want to sell theirs to buy this one.
it's pretty intense looking. There's no doubt about it. You know, my question, and the question that we've had for a number of years as these crossbows continue to get faster, is like, it's harder and harder to find broadheads that can hold up to that sort of speed and power. It's harder to find targets that can hold up.
Yeah.
Arrows, you know,
targets are
all the gear that you need to go along with it. You know, 500 feet per second, like most of the broadheads that are out there were designed to be used with compound bows.
Yeah.
That are shooting, you know, in a hunting situation, most guys, you know, if they're touching 300, that's doing pretty good in a hunting situation. A few of them are over, but you know, that 280 to 300 is where most of your hunting bows are going to be at. You start looking at these crossbows that are legit 450 to 500, it puts a heck of a beating on a broadhead blade, on a target, on an arrow, on a knock. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, when you're generating that much power, how these things hold up in the future.
You know, and to your point, Justin, I mean, honestly, like right now in my backyard, I mean, I got a cursed target back there. I mean, my 10-point crossbow that I'm using right now, I mean, there's two bolts in it right now that even me and my son can't get out. Like part of it is pretty cold out, but I mean, you're 100% right. Like, I mean, there's going to have to be some additional thought process that's just put into, you know, all the other accessories that go along with this. So anyhow, definitely pretty cool. I think this was it would have been a crowd buster, and people would be going home talking about this one for sure. Obviously, you know, all of us bow hunters and crossbow hunters, we're all on the same team. We're all hunters. But this baby,
I have a feeling, people on the internet.
What's that?
Not according to some of those people on the internet.
I know. Well, I'm gonna stop right now so we don't start getting a bunch of negative reviews.
Haters gonna hate, and they're gonna love to hate my product, which Todd, you alluded to earlier, the Excalibur Twin Strike crossbow, which was released earlier, I think this week or maybe last week.
Yeah.
This is the first crossbow that shoots 2 arrows pretty much simultaneously. You know, Excalibur, when you look at their crossbows, you know, they're really the only holdout out there that doesn't have a mechanical cam system. You know, their limbs are basically a set of recurved limbs that you pull back and cock and shoot. There's no cams, cables, anything like that. So essentially what they did is they just took those limbs, they stacked them on top of each other to make a quad limb bow with dual barrels, dual string tracks, and you have 2 arrows, one on top of each other, and it actually had 2 separate triggers. So you could shoot them both at the same time, technically, if you wanted to, or you can shoot one and then the other immediately after it. Because as we know, you know, one of the knocks on crossbows has been, you know, trying to get a second shot at an animal in the event that you miss or you make a bad shot. Like, it takes a long time to cock some of these crossbows. And sometimes you got to get out a whole cocking mechanism, slide it down the barrel, lock it on, all that's like, it's almost an impossibility to get a second shot at an animal if you miss or make a bad one. So this kind of eliminates that issue. And of course, just like the Raven, it's generated quite a bit of buzz online, both from people who think it's a great idea, as well as the negative Nancy crossbow haters out there. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's innovative. That's the whole point of this video, is talking about, you know, the most buzzed about innovative products for this year. So I'm giving the nod to the Excalibur Twin Strike. It retails for about $2,200 is what that one's going to go for. So, you know, a little bit less than that Raven is. So if you're into the simplicity of the draw system on this and you want to be able to have a second shot, or I suppose if you want to try to shoot 2 arrows at an animal at the same time, you could check out.
Are there going to be any legal? I mean, you think there'll be any legal ramifications for that? I mean, I'm just talking out loud. I don't know.
I mean, I don't see why there would be, at least not immediately. I'm not sure what the problem is.
I don't know if I've ever looked to see if it mentions archery as
before, Todd.
I don't know if I ever looked.
Why do we got to go there? Hey, you know what? You see, listen, that's the thing about me versus I have no problem telling people the crazy stuff that's happening during bow hunting. I did. One time I emptied my quiver. It did happen when I was young.
Go back to your truck and get more arrows.
I've never looked at the regulations to see if it mentions single projectile. I've never looked.
I don't think it does.
Right.
I mean, not that I'm aware of. I mean, maybe there's some legal ramifications. I'm sure if there are, they will come to light at some point in time. But that's my second item. PJ, back to you, my man.
Well, I'm going to digress here for a second because of Todd mentioning the 500 feet per second. So Justin, you and I online often rib each other about distance and shooting, how far you're going to shoot. So I got a picture here. I want you to look at can you read the time on that, the date and the time?
Oh man, I can't.
It says October 30th, 11:07. That's me kicking open a scrape, a mock scrape, 15 yards from my tree stand. Now, I hunt Pennsylvania. We generally don't have big deer.
Oh.
Whoa. What was that?
Do you see that guy?
That's a huge buck.
That's That's October 30th, 12:51. 1.5 hours after, and my tree stand is 15 yards away. Now, I had that deer on Thanksgiving night at 53 yards. I'll shoot that all day long on a target.
You think?
What's that?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say I would shoot him all day long. Then you change it to a target.
Well, at a target, 53 yards, I shoot that all day long. But Justin, you were in my head when I was standing there in my tree stand. I was ready. He was in a field, perfect scenario, and I was like, nope, I just can't do it. A lot of things can happen between
you would feel really bad if something went wrong.
Exactly.
That's the problem,
but now 500 feet per second, Todd, that's a no-brainer. Anyway, that
for our deer herd though.
That photo and that giant buck, that's kind of a metaphor for how my season went. So anyway,
what though? That's why we bow hunt though. I mean, oh my gosh, like the older I get, just seeing bucks like that, and you don't always have to shoot them. Just knowing that it was there and knowing the fact that it was there an hour and a half after you were there. I mean, gosh, I love that. That's great. Cool. Great story, great video. You better not be pulling our leg on that. That buck photo could have came from anybody. So
you could see he was standing right where I was standing, exact same spot. Anyway.
All right. Well.
All right.
Who is up next?
Next product here. All right. So I have the Hamski Primer. So this is a full capture limb-driven rest from Hamski. I love Hamski rests. They're just really well built. And this is the lightest one they've ever made. One of the things that people talk about with Hamskis is they tend to add some weight, especially to a hunting bow. This one is the lightest one they've ever come out with. And one thing that allowed them to do, you'll see this rubber cord, I guess for better term. The cable cord is actually threaded through here. It's woven through. It doesn't go through the middle. It kind of goes in one side to the back, out. It's woven in there so it can't come out. That allowed them to get away from the spring. Hamski rests usually have a spring up here because when you got that on the limb, you want to make sure it's tight and you want to get it extra tight to hold that rest in the down position. And then, of course, when you shoot, it pops up. Well, this piece of rubber here took the place of that spring. It's got just a little give. It adds enough give into that limb cord that when you tie that to your limb, now you can crank down on it like you want to hold that blade in place until you come to full draw. The rest pops up, and then you can take your shot. The drop away rests, of course, they're really popular in the hunting market. Hamski just makes a super set of limb driven. This one you can connect to the bottom limb or the top limb, however you like it. And as I mentioned, it's just super light. This is an awesome rest. That's the Hamski Primer they just come out with. I think they launched it maybe a week ago or so, but ATA, they're pushing the Hamski Primer.
I like it. Definitely see a lot more limb driven rests these days, and even when you look at, I think of, some of the new PSE bows, the knock-on bows that have, in the cabling system, they actually have a spot where you can attach a cord for your limb-driven rest now, just to make that setup even easier. So, some of these manufacturers are starting to build that right into their bows. So definitely gaining in popularity for sure. That's a cool product.
Hamski makes a bracket that you can put on your Matthews bows. You just take out one of the sort of limb blocks that they have down there. And like you mentioned, boom, you just tie that right into it. You don't have to go around the limb anymore. Just making it super simple.
I like it. Very cool.
All right.
Graph, we're back for your last one of the day. Make it a good one.
Oh man, dude, there's so many. I have a massive problem with a lot of problems, but we don't have a therapist on the line right now, so we're going to leave that out. But I got a massive addiction to trail cameras. GSM and Stealth Cam's got some that 4K that's coming out. That's going to be wireless. Justin, did you know about this? Did you look into this and dive into this at all? I don't want to tap into that one right now. That's not the next one I'm going to do. Well, you got one to show? A little sneak peek of that, baby?
I don't have the cellular one, but I have. I'll look for it while you're.
The only reason why I'm really diving into this right now, and it's a little tangent, but it's because mostly the fact that PJ brought in the trail camera photo. I mean, I'm addicted to trail cameras. I mean, I love the videos. I love getting the photos. I love the real time of them. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's a morning ritual for me when I get up in the morning to check my cell cams. It's what's that?
We're addicted to them.
It is. It's a massive addiction. I love it. I mean, I'm addicted. I got way too many of them, but
I have a non-cellular version here of the.
That's a brand new one, baby. There.
Okay.
Little sneak peek.
Batteries on the inside.
So we're going to have more videos of some of the more technological items that are going to be coming out. But the next one, that's again, guys, we're all about buzz. We're all about what's going on. So my next product is glow in the dark. Go on, say it. Someone want to say it?
Bowstrings.
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 The Bloodline Fiber glow in the dark bowstrings. Guys, again, you told me and you sent me on a mission to find buzz. I'm not going to say I 100% know what to do with glow in the dark bowstrings, but it's buzz. It's worth talking about. That's what we were supposed to do. So, I mean, basically after these things are exposed, to UV light, the string material will glow for up to 15 to 45 minutes, guys. Again, we're talking about buzz here. It's all about the buzz. That's an interesting one. I don't know what I don't know anything about performance.
The purpose that it serves.
I saw lots of people posting about it yesterday.
Me too.
So I saw it. I wanted to talk about it. I don't have a lot of details on these, so we're going to send our team off on a tangent to get with these guys to get more information. But glow in the dark bowstrings, I saw it. Supposed to talk about buzz, or Justin said I would be fired. So buzz is buzz, and
I mean, I suppose it just kind of looks cool, right? I mean, does it really need to do anything? We have plenty of things that just kind of look cool that we use, like PJ's new color of his tack veins, right? I mean, doesn't really serve much of a purpose other than looking cool. So I can go for that. I mean, one thing that Courtney that works in our office, she mentioned, like, you could take, if you're having a custom string builder build you a set of strings, you could take that glow in the dark one and just use it as like an accent. Don't necessarily build your whole string out of it. Just kind of a cool accent. And when it starts getting darker at night, your bow's, glowing next to you in the tree, I guess. I don't know. Kind of cool.
I can find it when I get up, when I'm up in a stand in the morning and it's pitch black and I drop my bow, then I can see exactly where it is.
Well, it wouldn't, but that's the problem. It wouldn't be glowing at that point because it needs to charge with UV light. So you would have to charge it up like in your truck.
Okay, at the end of the day when I drop it.
Inside of our bow cases. So it's always
I'm not charging any more stuff. You know what? Between charging bikes and charging my cameras and charging my heated vest and charging my hand warmer and charging batteries and I'm charged out. I'm done charging. I'm out.
Fair enough. Right.
Who's up next?
All right, it's going to be my last one for the day. And this is a product that I don't even know if it was going to be at the ATA show, to be honest with you. The product that I saw hit maybe 2 weeks ago now.
No.
And this,
I don't know this one, PJ.
I don't either.
want to make sure I'm getting the name right so I don't screw anything up. Where's my cheat sheet there? I'm very disorganized here. This is a new release for this year. And PJ, you might know the one that I'm talking about.
Yes, I believe I do.
This is the new back.
Well, why don't you ask him? He's acting so confident.
No, I gotta say
it. That's the one I was thinking.
It's called the Backstrap. Yep. It was released by John Dudley at Knock On Archery. I don't think it's the only one anymore, but I think it's the first one that I saw. It's a tension activated wrist strap release, right? Yes. And for anybody that's familiar with tension activated releases, there's a few of them on the market that are thumb, like not really thumb buttons, right? Because it's a tension release, but they're handheld releases.
Yeah.
So I have one. I have a stand resistance release. Basically what it is when you come to full draw on the stand anyways, it works a little differently. I actually hold the trigger down. I come to full draw, I let the trigger off, and then the only way to activate the release is to pull through the shot. And as the tension begins to build up on the release, it activates the shot. And what it's supposed to do is help primarily with target panic, which is something I've struggled with for a long time. Todd can attest to this. He's shot next to me on the line at Lancaster, and I'm flinching so bad. Todd's like, what are you doing over there? So for anybody that's had target panic, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And this is the first, not everybody likes to shoot a handheld release. I would say more bow hunters shoot wrist strap releases than shoot a handheld, right? Yeah. A lot of guys are afraid of losing them, dropping them, whatever. So the knock-on backstrap was the first that I'm aware of anyways, tension release. And what I like about this one, as opposed to my handheld, when I draw my handheld back, I have to be careful that I'm holding the safety down as I draw back.
Right.
The difference in the backstrap is you don't have to do that. You draw it back like you normally would, then you put your finger on the trigger and you depress the trigger, and that's what turns the safety off. Then you start pulling through the shot. So it's more of a natural progression of what people are used to. I'm even after almost 2 years of shooting that resistance release, as I switch back and forth from that to my thumb button, I always have to remember, grab the safety when I draw. In this case, you don't need to do that. So really cool release. It's going to retail for $219.99. It's got a BOA system on it instead of, thankfully, it doesn't have Velcro, which I hate. I would have liked to see like a leather buckle strap, but it's got the BOA system in it, which is pretty cool. Works for both left or right-handed shooters, so it's ambidextrous. And I think for anybody out there that has ever struggled with target panic, that doesn't want to shoot a handheld release, this is going to be a really good option for them. So,
I think also, Justin, I think you can adjust that to make it a standard trigger as well.
I believe you can, yeah. I think you can adjust it. So if you want to practice with it in tension mode, but then maybe go hunt with it, because even for me, like I said, I've been shooting my resistance for 2 years. I'm still too scared to hunt with it because I'm afraid that during like a high pressure situation, I'm just going to crank. I'm going to be a little bit too hard into my back wall. And when I let that safety off, it's just going to go.
Yep.
So I actually have 2 releases from Stan that are the exact same release, but one's a resistance and one's a thumb button.
Yes.
So that they give me the same feel. But this, allows you to shoot it either way. I think it's cool. I think it's a really neat, innovative new product for this year. I'm going to try to get my hands on one of them before long and test it out.
Well,
awesome.
There you go.
PJ, are you done?
I am done. I mean, I have another one if you want. Just as we were talking about those high-speed crossbows, Victory came out with the Voodoo here, and this is their it's a micro diameter crossbow arrow, and its construction is a construction that they have stainless steel mesh interwoven in the carbon as they make this. So it's stainless steel and carbon shaft. And then what they did, because it's micro diameter, is they put these little barrels here. And so these are what actually ride on the crossbow rail. It reduces friction. The guy told us, Devin O.D., I think he said it was like by 95% or something, the friction that's reduced in these bolts. And they said shooting from a regular crossbow, they were having difficulty keeping these in a target. I mean, the penetration was just insane, he said. So I imagine coming out of 500 feet per second, well, then you can go out there and shoot that T-Rex and you're going to get them.
Oh, well, and camouflage.
Well, that woolly mammoth I saw Justin
We need to know how
kill.
much they weigh. We need to know FOC. Come on, PJ. This is 2021, buddy.
Well,
is
500
FOC
grains, we're not shooting it.
Is FOC important on a crossbow bolt? I don't even know. I never heard anybody talk
now
about
somebody will make it a YouTube video saying it's important, and then it will be.
The thing's only 20 inches long.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've seen the new 10-point, but I've got one here, and the bolts for that thing are 16 inches long.
Yes, I did see
They feel like
that.
a writing pen.
Yeah,
But they're shooting 440 feet a second out of a 400 grain arrow. So that new 10-point's really sweet too.
Yes, it is.
A lot of cool new stuff for the market this year. So let's wrap this one up, Draftmeister. We'll do another one here in a week or so with some more product.
I think that should be our plan, guys. You can only cover so many products in so much time, but I think this is a fun, great little start. There's a lot of other things to discuss. There's going to be a lot more things that are going to be coming down the pipe. I mean, Justin and I know PJ are regularly talking to people within the industry, and with, again, like we said in the beginning, with ATA, not being here this year, companies are honestly taking a little bit of a deep breath, guys. They're getting their marketing strategies together a little bit stronger. They're making sure the execution of their product releases are going to be a little bit more timely towards when the hunting industry really starts getting geared back up again, and when you start getting towards that May and June and July. So I think we're going to see a lot of products throughout this entire year being launched. So you can bet your butt that we're going to be back here with another video discussing other products that we're going to find. So
thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, PJ.
I do like this.
Fun as always.
I do like this position, puppet master.
I feel like I'm being moved around by PJ.